All right, let's go through the detailed software. I want to retire early with $6,000 a month in retirement income. And now we're going to take into consideration those factors that we did not take into consideration on the board because it's just too hard to do that with just a basic calculator. So we need tactical software that's going to help us determine, can we retire with this amount of retirement income, and how long are our retirement investments going to last, and how much do we need in order for that to happen. So let's get into this right now. Now this is a sample case, so this is Drew Blackston, this is me. Retire early with $6,000 a month. How much do we need? So you can see Drew is 55 years old and 6 months. He is retired, and the first factor that we're going to talk about is Social Security. So Drew's going to claim Social Security at 67, which is $2,800 a month. So one of the first questions when we're asking how much do I need to retire early with a certain amount of retirement income, I'm always asking clients, when is Social Security going to start? Because if we start Social Security at 62, we're going to get 70% of our full retirement benefit. If we start at 67, we're going to get 100% of our full retirement benefit. And we start at 70, we're going to get 124% of our full retirement benefit. So we want to maximize our Social Security. We want to be the most efficient. And if we're married, we want to look at things like spousal benefits and how long, again, before we take Social Security when we retire early. So we're going to do Social Security at 67 with $2,800 per month. Now, from an asset standpoint, we're all in 401k and we're at zero. Remember, we're asking how much do we need to retire? Now, the rate of return we're going to assume, remember we did the two different rates on the board. We did 6% and 4%. So we're going to first assume a 6% rate of return for the 401k, for the cash flows, and for any forced RMD proceeds. So 6% is our rate of return on our investments. Now, we go up to expenses. We want $6,000 a month with inflation of 3.24%. That's something else we can't do on the board. We can't calculate inflation necessarily as great as we can in the software because the software is going to do it daily. It's going to take that 3.24%, divide that by 365, and we're going to have a daily inflation rate on this money. And the reason we're using 3.24, if you look at inflation history, 1914, 1%. 2021, 7%. Take all those years, you average it out, we got 3.24% is the 108-year average. Current 10-year average is 2.15, okay? Now, cash flow and taxes we're not going to worry about. Cash flows is if this person wanted to add in vacations, maybe they needed to add in healthcare costs, maybe they needed to add in gifts to children. So we're not going to go to cash flows right now because the $6,000 is covering everything. So we're not worried about that. And taxes, we don't have anything to talk about on taxes yet because we don't know how much we need in retirement savings. So let's go to retirement, and this is going to tell us how much we need. So retiring at 55, 6% rate of return, we need $1,894,255 for retirement to make this money last for the rest of our life. So now we can go back to assets. We can plug in $1.9 million. Let's just round it up. And then we go back to retirement here. And we can say, okay, based on $1.9 million in the 401k, look at this. Here's our net monthly expenses, $6,000 a month. That's what our expenses are. We're getting Social Security right here at 67. That's $2,800. So we've got our Social Security plus our elevated expenses. We're not out of money until 98 years old. So we basically have taken this thing all the way to the end. We know that we need $1,900,000 in retirement savings to make sure that our retirement income lasts forever. All right? So I hope this has helped. God bless. Bye-bye. Let's say you're wanting to retire at 55. Well, if you retire at 55, you're going to have to use your retirement assets, your retirement savings, in order to kind of bridge the gap until you get to Social Security. So maybe If you find out that your Social Security is not going to be what you think it should be at 62 and you're going to wait to 67 and you're asking yourself, can I retire at 55? Now you know you have a 12-year gap before you start taking Social Security. All right, let's look at the strategy for a 52-year-old with $1.9 million in retirement investing accounts. Now, he retired at 50, and we're trying to bridge the gap between 50 and 59 and a half. Because remember, at age 59 and a half, all the rules, regulations, stipulations, all the laws and the caution tape fall off of your IRAs, your 401ks, and all of your qualified retirement investing accounts so that you can use those for retirement income. Now, he's got about $2 million at age 52. But he's still got 8 years before he can use the vast majority of his qualified retirement investing accounts without incurring a 10% penalty. So what we've done is a 72T. Now, in his IRA, he had about $1.2 million. We split that IRA into 2 separate IRAs. One, we're going to do a 72T on, and the second IRA, we're just going to leave invested, okay? So that we don't have to do the total 1.2 million. We can just set the 72T up for the income that is required. Let's go through the strategy. So, he's 52 years old. We've got $552,000 in his 72T, of which he's getting $1,600 a month. That is going to stay constant until age 59 and a half. That's not going to change, it's not going to go up. It's not going to go down. It has to stay at $1,600 or he gets a penalty, that 10% penalty today, and it's retroactive for all the years he's been doing the 72T. Now, the money is going to still be invested in the market. So the 72T is still invested in the stock market, but I want to do a calculation very, very low on the rate of return that money's going to get in the stock market. Remember, the market since about 1950 has averaged 10%. It's actually 8% with inflation. If you go back to the 1900s or maybe into the 1800s and you look at the stock market, we've averaged somewhere between 6 and 8% with inflation. So when I'm doing a calculation for someone who's in their early 50s and we're doing retirement income planning, you could bet your bottom dollar we're going to go real low on our assumption. So we're going to use a 4% growth rate on the money in the market because I do not want to screw this up, especially with somebody who could be in retirement for 40 or 50 years. That's not going to cover $4,666 a month in retirement expenses. So we have $404,000 that's in a non-qualified taxable brokerage account, which means he can take money out, he can put money in, he can invest any way he wants. The only taxes he's going to pay on that money are capital gains, dividends, and interest. So we're going to make up the income that he needs from his brokerage account. Now, that's $3,057, which is a large sum of money coming out of a brokerage account, especially over a long time frame. Now, he has other assets that we're going to be able to utilize at 59 and a half. If these were his only 2 accounts, this strategy would be very, very fishy. I don't know if I would want to do this as a financial advisor because we're going to be taking so much money out of his non-qualified account that we better have some backup money to use once we get to 59 and a half. So $3,057 coming out per month. If we average that 4% rate of return on that money in the market, the 404 would go to $238,518. You see why I'm a little concerned if these were his only 2 assets. Now, we have other retirement assets. We've got about $2 million. So this is okay. This is more like bucket planning. But if these were his only 2 assets, this is something we'd be seriously talking about working longer, not using this strategy. So at 59 and a half, his non-qualified brokerage account goes to $238,518. And we're going to stop it. We don't have to use that anymore if we don't want to. His 72 Ts at 574, 350. Now, outside of those two assets, he had a total retirement portfolio of $1.9 million. So we had about $900,000 that was being used for retirement income between the ages of 50 and 59 and a half. Well, the other $1 million is still growing. Those portfolios, those accounts are more moderate growth portfolios because we're not using them for income. So they don't have to be as conservative as the accounts that we're using for income. So at 59 and a half, his other IRA account would be worth $574,000. His non-qualified, which we just talked about, would be $238,000. His IRA would be $985,119. His Roth, $361,000, and the bank $136,000. So you have a total assets of $2.2 million, almost $2.3 million at 59 and a half, which is why now that those 10% stipulations have fallen off, now that he can use all his retirement assets for retirement income, if I were to ask you the question, hey, can I retire at 60 with $2.3 million? You probably would not click on that thumbnail or watch that video. So for him, the big concern was bridging the gap from 50 to 59 and a half, and that's the strategy that we used. Keep in mind, if you're going to use this strategy, work with a CPA or a financial advisor who understands 72 Ts, okay? Understands it. Because there's taxes that are involved and there's rules and regulations that you want to follow. And hey, listen, this is a retirement EKG. This is a financial EKG that we do for clients that you need to make sure that you're going to get to retirement, through retirement, and protect your ability to stay in retirement. If you want an EKG from us, go to the description below. There is a way to get in contact with us, and we will do a financial EKG for you to make sure that your retirement plan can last through no matter what economic uncertainty is going on. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye-bye. If you're younger or if you've got a lot of cash in the bank, start building your freedom fund now. Invest in your 401k, get the match. Invest in the IRA if it helps you on your taxes. Invest in the Roth IRA to get tax-free money. But invest in a freedom fund. I'm telling you, it's going to give you the freedom to retire early. And for this example, let's assume you've retired at 55. And you might be thinking, Drew, what do I need to think about? I retired at 55. I won. Well, there's a few things you need to think about between the ages of 55 and 65. The first is you need to update your Social Security plan. Now, if you've done a financial EKG with me, the Social Security plan automatically updates. But if you are a DIYer, or you're doing your own retirement planning, you need to make sure that you're updating your Social Security plan every year after you retire. Why is that, Drew? You need to understand when you're going to take Social Security. You're going to take Social Security at 62 and get 70% of your full retirement benefit? Are you going to take Social Security at 67 and get 100% of your full retirement benefit? Or are you going to take Social Security at 70 and get 124% of your full retirement benefit? And as the market goes, as the economy goes, as the world turns, as the old show used to say, we want to update our Social Security plan for where the rest of our retirement investments are situated. Because you might have a plan to take Social Security at 67, get 100% of your full retirement benefit. But early in your retirement, there could be something that comes along called sequence of return risk. Now, sequence of return risk is simply in the first few years of your retirement, the market goes down. And so because the market goes down and you're using stock market investments for retirement income, there's a bigger drain on your retirement investment accounts early in your retirement, which is why you want a plan that looks at all these different scenarios. Well, if the market goes down early in your retirement, maybe you think about taking Social Security at 62, 63, 64 at an earlier time frame to help support your retirement investing accounts. Or vice versa, let's say the market kills it. The market's doing great. Boom, boom, boom. We're making money hand over fist. We're taking out our retirement income. We're living the good life, right? Well, in that case, you might say, well, I'm going to be an overachiever. I'm going to be a broccoli eater. I'm going to take Social Security at 70 and delay that benefit because my retirement investment accounts have grown so much that I can sustain the retirement income until I get to Social Security at 70. That's why you always, especially when you retire early, you want to update your retirement income plan every year. We call it an EKG for our clients, and if you want one, contact me in the description below and we can talk about that. Now, at 62, it becomes your first opportunity to collect Social Security, so always keep that in mind. Now, between ages 55 and 65, our investments become more conservative. Now, here's the example I like to use. Have you ever ridden a roller coaster? Well, I have. And you go upside down, and you go fast, and you don't really necessarily know where you're going to get off. You just know you're going to get off. Well, at 36 years old, riding on a roller coaster, that's what I'm doing in the stock market. I'm going through the twists, the turns, the corkscrews, everywhere. But when you get to retirement, and now you're living off of your retirement income, you're living off your retirement investments and using that for retirement income, you do not want to be on a roller coaster. You want to be on a train. You want to know exactly where you're getting off. I call it the Walt Disney World Railroad. We know we're going to get off at Tomorrowland. We know we're going to get off at Main Street, and we know we're going to get off at Frontierland. Boom. We know exactly where we're getting off on this train. Now, not all of our investments need to be on the train. Some of them can stay on the roller coaster, but we need to be adjusting our investments for our risk capacity, understanding what happens if the market does fall 10, 20, 30%. How does that affect my retirement investments? How does that affect my retirement income? And also be thinking about what's a rate of return that I would be happy with the rest of my life? And I ask all of my clients this. I say, listen, if you got 6% the rest of your life, would you be happy? And they'll say, yeah. And I say, okay, then why are we taking this amount of risk to get 8, 9, and 10% when all you need is 6? And that's, again, why you want to do a retirement income plan, an EKG. You want to know the exact percentage of retirement gain that you need to sustain your lifestyle for the rest of your life. So we're kind of adjusting our investments. A little side note you want to be thinking about between ages 55 and 65, long-term care. Now, I'm not talking about long-term care insurance. I'm just talking about long-term care, making sure you understand that as you get older, your healthcare costs are going to go up, and you want to have a plan, or at least a thought, an idea of what you're going to do for long-term care. Lastly, between ages 55 and 65, you hit that magical number 65, and you go on Uncle Sam's Medicare. That's when your healthcare costs come down for your monthly healthcare premium, which is great. And understanding your Medicare decision is huge, especially at 65. You get one shot without any underwriting to choose your Medicare plan, whether you want to go onto a supplement or whether you want to go onto a Medicare Advantage plan. That's something we can help you out with here too. You can contact us. We can help you with your Medicare decision. But Medicare is a big deal because how much you're going to pay in healthcare costs is in turn going to affect your retirement income, which in turn is affected by your retirement investing accounts and the performance on those investing accounts. All right. Now remember, with Social Security, you take it at 62, you get 70% of your full retirement benefit. You wait till 67, you're actually going to get 100% of your full retirement benefit. And if you take it at 70, if you're an overachiever, a broccoli eater, then you get 124% of your full retirement benefit. You can take it any time between 62 and 70. You got to make a decision that fits your retirement plan. So here's some of the things we got to think about if we're wanting to retire early at 55. The first is the rule of 55. Now, what is the rule of 55? The rule of 55 is simply if you are currently working at a job that offers a 401k and you retire, you're terminated, or you leave that job, you can use your current 401k, the one where you're working at right now, for retirement income without paying a 10% penalty. Now remember, if you move your money from 401k to IRA, or you have old 401ks and you take distributions out of those accounts before age 59 and a half, you will pay a 10% penalty. So the rule of 55 allows you to leave your 401k at at your current 401k provider, use that for retirement income and not pay the 59.5%, 10% penalty. Now, there's no limits on how much you can take out, nor are there any numbers or any restrictions on how you take that money out. Now, your 401k provider may not allow you to take out monthly retirement income. They may say you have to take it out on an annual basis, but the rule of 55 allows you to dodge, to not have to pay that 10% penalty. The other factor we have to think about is the rule of 72T. Maybe you don't have a 401k at your current job. Maybe you're self-employed and all your money is in IRAs or SEP IRAs or simple IRAs, or maybe you've already rolled over your 401k into an IRA. How do I retire at 55? Well, the 72T rule with the IRS says you can take substantial equal periodic payments from your IRA over time. Now that's either 5 years or age 59.5, whichever is longer. So if you retire at 55, you have to take it until at least 60. Now the hard thing with the 72T is knowing how much you're going to need inside of that 72T every year for retirement income. That's why you're watching this video, because we have to get a good idea of how much we're going to need for retirement income based on inflation and based on market returns. Okay, so you have the rule of 55 if you have a current 401k, and you have the 72T rule if you have an IRA. Remember, we're trying to retire at 55. How do we do that? A little tip here that I didn't put on the board. A better way, if you are in your 30s or 40s and you're wondering, can I retire at 55? A better way than stacking up all your money into a 401k or an IRA, obviously if you have a 401k and you're getting a match, keep doing that. If you are putting money into an IRA and a 401k and it's giving you a tax benefit, keep doing that. But another thing you could do is take any excess money or excess investments that you have, put those into a taxable brokerage account, not an IRA, not a 401k, not a Roth IRA, just a taxable, regular, good old-fashioned brokerage account. Build that account up and use that when you turn 55 for retirement income, because there's no restrictions. Many times the taxes are much, much lower than if you're pulling money out of your 401k or an IRA. I like to call this a freedom bucket of money, because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. If you want to retire at 52 and your freedom bucket allows you to go from 52 to 60, then hey, you can retire at 52 before you have to tap your qualified, your IRA, your 401k monies. Okay, so rule of 55, 72T, freedom bucket. Some other things you got to think about: 25X rule. What the 25X rule says, take your annual expenses and multiply those by 25. If you have that saved in retirement savings, whether that's in 401ks, IRAs, freedom bucket, bank accounts, CDs, whatever, then essentially you have enough money to retire, withdrawing 4% from that amount of money with inflation. So for this example, if we've got $50,000 that we need in retirement income on a yearly basis, multiply that by 25x, that comes to $1.25 million. So essentially, the rule, or the 25x rule, says you could take 4% off of that $1.2 million with inflation, and it should last 30 years. It should last. That's what the rule says. It should last. Keep in mind, if you retire at 55, 30 years from then is 85. I've got a lot of 85-year-old clients, so I don't want to run out of money at 85 years old. So the 25X rule is what we're going to use today to give us a good idea on how much we need to have saved, but it's not concrete, all right? The fourth factor you need to consider when you're thinking about retiring at 55 is Social Security. When are you going to take Social Security? Are you going to take Social Security at 62? Are you going to take Social Security at 67? Are you going to take Social Security at 70? Remember, if you take Social Security at 62, you're going to get 70% of your full retirement benefit. If you take Social Security at your full retirement age 67, for this example, you're going to get 100% of your full retirement benefit. And you wait to 70, if you're an overachiever, a broccoli eater, then you're going to get 124% of your full retirement benefit. So it's important to understand, when am I going to take Social Security, especially when you're doing planning for retiring at 55, because then you're going to determine how long am I going to need to take out retirement income from my retirement investing accounts. Think about it. If you retire at 55 and you're going to take Social Security at 67, which is what I'm going to show you on the board here in just a second, that's 12 years of retirement income. If you take it at 70, it's 15 years of retirement income that has to come out of your retirement investing accounts before you start taking Social Security. And so we've really got to know, when are we going to take Social Security? Is there any flexibility in taking Social Security? And what are the factors that I need to understand when it comes to Social Security planning? Single, married, spousal benefits, divorced spousal benefits. Those are all things that you need to understand if you're asking the question, can I retire at 55? And that's something that we do here at your Financial EKG. We run Social Security maximization schedules for clients so they understand exactly when they need to take Social Security, but also I show them the flexibility in taking Social Security early or later depending on market conditions. And that's something you can get. All the details are in the description below. Now, the fifth factor we need to understand when it comes to, can I retire at 55, how much do I need, is the risk involved in retiring at 55. And the first risk is the sequence of return risk. And that's what we're going to focus on today when we go on the board and I do the actual scenario for you. Sequence of return risk is basically this: that you go into retirement and the stock market falls multiple years, meaning the stock market goes down, you lose money for the first multiple years of your retirement. Think 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. The market was down 3 straight years from 01 to 03. And so if you retired in 2000, you didn't have a positive year in your retirement investing accounts until the year 2004. And then what happened 4 years later? 2008, 2009. And so you really want to understand, what's the risk I'm taking on my retirement investing accounts? And again, what is the flexibility? What are the changes that need to be made in my retirement income if the market goes down early or late during my retirement? Freedom Fund, I call it a freedom fund. It's not a mutual fund. It's not an ETF. It's basically taking money and investing it into a taxable brokerage account. And what the Freedom Fund allows you to do is the freedom to retire when you want, or the freedom to pay off your house when you want, or the freedom to buy a car cash free, a used car cash free if you want. All right, if you're thinking about retiring in the next 2 years or less, this is what you need to be doing. Number one, you need to save more money now. You need to be saving more for retirement now. You need to look for ways that you can save more money in your retirement investments, your retirement savings, and overall your retirement wealth. You need to be looking for ways that you can increase your contributions to your 401ks, 403bs, traditional IRAs, or Roth IRAs. According to a recent survey by the Employee Benefits Retirement Institute, 70% of surveyed individuals who were already retired wish they had saved more for retirement while they were working. So how do you do that? Well, if you're over the age of 50, you can do a catch-up contribution. So over and above your normal 401k or IRA contribution, you can actually put in more. For the year 2022, you can put in $6,500 more into your 401k or $1,000 more into your IRA over and above the current limit. Now, if this is 2023, 2024, or beyond, just check the IRS website to see what you can put in for a catch-up contribution. One of the other things that you can do to help save more money for retirement now, if you're already maxing out your 401k or your 403b, you can start investing in a Roth IRA. As long as you meet the income limits for investing in a Roth IRA, you can actually, if you have extra retirement income left over, put that money into a Roth IRA, invest that for retirement, and use that once you get to retirement. Remember, any money that you put into a Roth IRA has to follow the 5-year rule, which means all your earnings have to stay in the Roth IRA for 5 years, but you can pull out contributions. If you were to pull out your earnings within the 5-year period, you pay a 10% penalty. But the Roth IRA gives you the ability to save more money now and have that money tax-free in the future.